Good to have you with us. You're watching The Big Story. I'm Avni Raja. We're making a start here with the latest developments as far as the farmers meeting with the centre is concerned. In fact, that meeting is still going on at this point in time in the national capital between the delegation of farmers and union ministers over the centre's new farm laws. Now, this meeting, remember, comes after a month of deadlock over the new farm laws and intense farmer protests. Farmers are firm on their demand to have the three laws repealed. And the centre, meanwhile, is hopeful that this meeting will, in fact, end with a resolution and an end to the protests. But, of course, that is something that remains to be seen. But let me, in fact, go across to Ayushman, who's joining us at this point in time. Ayushman, of course, it's already been a few hours since this meeting has been on. The centre extremely hopeful that this is going to end the protests and some sort of a resolution will be achieved. But, of course, that is something that remains to be seen.
Yes, in fact, the farmers have already said that the government need to talk on the modalities of repealing these farm laws, and there is no other discussion in which they are going to engage in. Currently, we are being told that the farmers have once again reiterated to the government that the government need to talk on the points as to how one day's parliament session can be called and the laws can be repealed. But at the same time, they have also told the ministers that people who have died during the protest their families must be compensated. We are also being told that in the course of the meeting, there was a point which came up that the kind of violence that is being seen, where there are mobile towers which are being attacked, and the government clearly said that this is not going in a positive. This was not being received in a positive manner. So even the farmers agreed to the point that yes, in fact, the violence was not something that they were resorting to. They said that their protest has been peaceful all through the course, whenever they while they have been sitting at the protest site. But the core loggerhead which is there between the centre and the farm union is the repealing of the laws, which till now what we are getting to know from our sources is that hasn't been yet solved, and for that deliberations are on still.
All right, Ayushman, stay with us. Let me actually go across to Thakur Kiranpal Singh, who's joining us from the Bharat Kisan Union on the phone line. ठाकुर जी, हमसे बात करने के लिए धन्यवाद. आपको क्या लगता है कि इस राउंड ऑफ टॉक्स में कुछ भी रेजोल्यूशन निकल पाएगा?
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद मेरे नाव को, मैडम आपको भी. मैं बताऊंगा, निकलना नहीं निकलेगा तो इससे बड़ा दुर्भाग्य सरकार का भी और किसानों का नहीं होगा. मैं तो कहता हूं दोनों तरफ से आज उसका कोई न कोई रिजल्ट निकलना चाहिए, क्योंकि मैं भारतीय किसान भानु का राष्ट्रीय वरिष्ठ पाठक किरणपाल सिंह, चिल्ला बॉर्डर पर हमारे राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष पिछले 1 तारीख से पड़े हैं और आज 1 महीना पूरा हो गया. 1 महीने से सरकार की वो कोर्ट वाली जो पहली कहावतें पिक्चरों में सुनी जाती थी, कोर्ट तारीख पर तारीख, तारीख पर तारीख, अगर सरकार आज इस समस्या का हल नहीं निकाल पाती है तो इससे बड़ा विफल सरकार दुनिया में कभी कोई आएगी भी नहीं.
बिल्कुल ठाकुर जी, आपको अगर इस बार हल नहीं निकल आया तो फिर प्रोटेस्ट की तरफ से क्या होगा? कैसे इंटेंसिफाई होगा प्रोटेस्ट? क्या होगा?
देखिए, अगर नहीं निकल पाता है तो ये आंदोलन खत्म नहीं होगा. ये किसानों का आंदोलन है, किसी राजनीतिक दलों का आंदोलन नहीं है. ये तो राजनीतिक, तो इसे ये राजनीतिक तो देते आए पहले से. पहली जो सरकारें थी वो भाजपा का नाम लेती थी. भाजपा सरकार है तो ये कांग्रेस और सपा और बसपा का अन्य दलों का नाम ले रही है. ये किसान संगठनों, किसानों का जो आंदोलन है, इसको राजनीतिकरण दिया जाता है, जबकि इसमें राजनीतिकरण कुछ है नहीं. ये जो विपक्ष जो जाके राष्ट्र द्रोही जो लोग कभी जो राष्ट्र के द्रोह में काम करते थे, नारे लगाते थे, ऐसे लोगों को भी सरकार के नामुंदे भेजते हैं. किसान आंदोलन कभी नहीं चाहता, न राजनीतिक लोगों को, न देशद्रोहियों को कभी भी अपने आंदोलन में नहीं चाहता है. और अगर सरकार आज नहीं कर पाती है तो इससे बड़ी विफलता मेरे को नहीं लगता कि ये मोदी सरकार को सबसे बड़ी विफलता का कारण बनेगी.
ठाकुर जी, एक और सवाल मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूंगी. जो इस बार अभी थोड़ी देर पहले जो फोटोज आए हैं अंदर से, मीटिंग के यहाँ से हम देख रहे हैं कि जो यूनियन मिनिस्टर्स हैं वो किसानों के साथ खाना खा रहे हैं। आपको लगता है कि ये एक मैसेज भेजना चाह रहे हैं? क्योंकि पिछली बार कुछ मीटिंगों में जो फार्मर्स हैं उन्होंने कहा था कि जो खाना उधर सर्व किया था वो नहीं खाया था, लेकिन इस बार जो यूनियन मिनिस्टर्स हैं वो किसानों के साथ खाना खा रहे हैं।
जी, अगर ऐसा
आपको क्या लगता है, क्या इनका मैसेज आप तक पहुंच रहा है?
जी जी, मेरी आवाज आ रही है? और इस तरह से अगर खाना खा रहे होंगे तो कोई ऐसा बड़ी बात नहीं है, क्योंकि जब जब कोई नाराज खाना ना खाने वाली ना सरकार अपनी जेब से दे रही है, वो भी मेरे हिसाब से देखा जाए तो किसानों की देन है, किसानों के पैसा है। सरकार का कोई पैसा नहीं होता, सब किसानों से मैक्सिमम लोग जाता है। और अगर इस तरह से कहीं मैंने देखा नहीं ऐसा कि वो अगर मंत्री और किसान नेता सब एक साथ खाना खा रहे हैं। अगर ऐसी कोई वार्ता हुई होगी और वार्ता में लगता है कि दोनों तरफ से सुलह हो गई होगी, तो खाने में कोई परहेज भी नहीं है।
बिल्कुल ठाकुर जी, हमसे बात करने के लिए धन्यवाद। ऑफ कोर्स वील हैव टू वेट एंड वॉच आउट फॉर व्हाट एक्चुअली कम्स आउट ऑफ दीज टॉक्स. इफ Ayushman is still with us, I'd like to ask him one more question. Ayushman, all right, we'll just try and go back to Ayushman, but those of course are the details, and those visuals are coming in from the meeting at this point in time. Meanwhile, Reliance Jio has once again written into the Punjab Chief Minister Amrinder Singh seeking government intervention over destruction of its mobile towers in the state. Jio claims more than 1,500 sites have been vandalized. The situation, in fact, worsened with people openly moving weapons in the guise of farmer protests. Jio also claims that the vandals have become a threat to the lives of their employees. Gurpreet is joining us for more details. Gurpreet, this is the second time now that Jio has written to the Chief Minister asking for any kind of intervention. Has there been any response from the Chief Minister's office?
Well, Chief Minister of Punjab has already appealed that and already directed all the police officials to act on the complaints lodged by the Jio employees. But at the same time, we have seen that vandalism is continuing in Punjab. Even yesterday, that in Moga, that we have seen that a generator was taken away from that tower, and after that the police recovered, but no case has been registered. Yes, of course, the directions by the Chief Minister has already been given to all the police officials not to allow such type of vandalism in the state. At the same time, local level officials, they are holding multiple meetings, but in Moga, like we have seen yesterday, that some police officials had already been deployed there to take care of the tower, but Reliance Jio is very, very worried about this thing. First, they had written to DGP Punjab 2 days ago. Now they have given a complaint to the Chief Minister of Punjab so that this loss should not be continued in the state. At the same time, the legal action, they are demanding that legal action should be taken against these miscreants who are indulging in such type of damaging of towers.
All right, Gurpreet, thank you so much for joining us with all of those details. Moving on now, this is a face-off between the Trinamool Congress government and West Bengal governor, which has now taken a dramatic turn as TMC approaches the president seeking immediate removal of the West Bengal governor. We're now has access to a 20-page letter as well that TMC MP has written to the president. The state government is accusing the governor of failing to protect the constitution, not signing a number of bills, as well as trying to destabilize the TMC government, among many other complaints as well. That is, of course, what the TMC is saying against the governor. Remember, there has been a severe war of words and a clash between the TMC, the state government in Bengal, as well as the Bengal governor, and TMC saying that the governor engaging in divisive politics, and also want the president to initiate action against Governor Dhankar as well. TMC, they're saying that the governor failed to protect the constitution. Those are the details coming in at this point in time. In fact, scathing attacks and allegations against the governor. on now, Britain authorized the use of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, becoming the first country to greenlight the use of Covishield. UK government has announced that the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine will be rolled out from the 4th of January across Britain. In fact, approval from UK paves the way for the Oxford vaccine to be introduced in India. In fact, shortly after this news from the UK, an expert panel of the drug regulator group in India called an emergency meeting to consider the Oxford vaccine being developed in India by the Serum Institute of India in Pune. In fact, the CEO, Adar Poonawalla, has said they're waiting to get the final approval for this particular vaccine.
This is really fantastic news this morning that the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine has been authorised for use by the regulator. They've been looking very carefully at all of the information that's come out of the trials, and they've approved it for use, which means that we can accelerate the vaccine rollout, which is much needed. This Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine is really good news. We have 100 million doses on order. The rollout will start on the 4th of January and will really accelerate into in the first few weeks of next year.
Meanwhile, 20 cases of the UK COVID strain have been detected in India. A total of 107 samples of UK returnees were tested for the new strain, out of which 8 cases were detected by the National Centre for Communicable Diseases in Delhi, 7 cases by NIMHANS in Bengaluru. In light of the rising cases of the new strain, the centre has extended the ban on UK flights till the 7th of January. Union Health Secretary has written to all states and asked them to keep a strict vigil on events and overcrowding, especially in the run-up to New Year's Eve. Meanwhile, 7 cases of the new strain have been reported from Karnataka, while 3 cases have been reported from Bengaluru, 4 cases from the Shivamogga district. Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa has urged UK returnees in the state to get themselves tested. CM Yediyurappa also said that the state government is taking appropriate measures, but it's also the duty of the UK returnees to get themselves tested.
ಬ್ರಿಟನ್ ವೈರಸ್ ಏನು ಹರಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಇಲಾಖೆಯವರೇ ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಗಮನವನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾವು ಕಟ್ಟೆಚ್ಚರ ವಹಿಸಬೇಕು ಮತ್ತು ಹೊರಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ಬಂದಂಥವ್ರನ್ನ ಚಾಚು ತಪ್ಪದೆ ಸರಿಯಾದ ರೀತಿ ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಬಂದಂಥವರು ಕಣ್ತಪ್ಪಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಓಡೋದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡೋದು ಅವ್ರ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಮತ್ತು ಇದು ಭಾಳ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಗ ಹರಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅದನ್ನು ತಡೆಯೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾರು ಹೊರಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ಕಳೆದ 2 ತಿಂಗಳಿಂದ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಒಂದ್ಸರಿ ಮೆಡಿಕಲ್ ಚೆಕಪ್ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಬಂದು ಸಹಕರಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನಾನು ವಿನಂತಿಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಇದರ ಅನಗತ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಇದರಿಂದ ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಕೊಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ನಾನು ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಯಾಗಿ ಯಾರು ಹೊರಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ಬಂದಾರೆ ಬ್ರಿಟನ್ನಿಂದ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರನ್ನೂ ಸಹ ವಿನಂತಿಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಇದನ್ನು ತಡೆಯೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಈಗಿರೋ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಯಾವುದೇ ಮಾರ್ಗಸೂಚಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಯಾವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಡೆಲ್ಲಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಸೂಚನೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು ನೋಡೋಣ. ಈಗಿರೋ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ನಾವು ಎಚ್ಚರ ವಹಿಸಬೇಕು, ಆ ಎಚ್ಚರ ಅವ್ರು ವಹಿಸಿ ಅಂತ ವಿನಂತಿ.
Meanwhile, 2 buildings housing about 40 residents have been sealed in Bengaluru after 2 people from the same apartment tested positive for the new coronavirus strain. High drama took place at the spot when the officials came to take all the residents for an institutional quarantine, but the residents refused as they claimed they had tested negative. As a consequence, officials sealed down the buildings, barricaded the adjacent road as well, and put up banners with home quarantine written on them.
As we're seeing new COVID variant cases being reported across the country, in Karnataka too, 7 cases have been reported from the NIMHANS. And keeping this in mind now, the government and the civic authorities are taking all precautions to ensure that, the spread is contained. So we're right now showing you, visuals from Vittal Nagar or ward number 197 of Bengaluru, the Vasantpura ward of the Bomanhalli zone, wherein 2 buildings, opposite each other have been sealed down after 2 cases were reported of the new variant, 2 UK returnees, who tested positive over here. And having said that, they've barricaded this entire area that you can see, the 2 buildings. Nearly about 40 residents who, stay in these 2 apartments now are going to be in home quarantine. They've all tested negative, about 35 of the, secondary contacts who've tested negative. But despite that, the civic authorities have maintained that the protocol must be followed, that they must be in home quarantine. In fact, on Tuesday, we did see a little bit of drama over here when, when the civic authorities arrived to actually quarantine all of them institutionally. But, they went ahead to say that they would rather stay in home quarantine itself, following which, you're seeing how this tent house has been put up over here. And, this tent house over here is for all essential supplies. That's one. You can see the medicines, that have been kept over here. These are all emergency medicines that, that could be provided to the residents if at all they are in need of it. And additionally, also, you can see you have volunteers here, as well as, the police that is going to be keeping a strict vigil on all of those people moving in and out of these areas.
Or in fact, Karnataka Health Minister K. Sudhakar asserted that the sealing and barricading has been done as part of the appropriate preventive measures in order to curb the spread of the new COVID strain.
Staying in apartments with close contacts, as we all know that this strain is 70% more potent in spread. So we need to, take appropriate precautionary measures. On account of that, we are trying to close down that flat, close down that floor,
On that note, we're slipping into a very quick break, but we'll be back with lots more. And in some breaking news that's coming in, Kapil Gurjar, who's the one who opened fire on CAA NRC protesters at Shaheen Bagh, has joined the BJP in Ghaziabad today. He's joined the party as a member. Those are the details coming in. Remember, this is the Shaheen Bagh shooter who has now joined the BJP. He had in fact opened fire during the anti-CAA protests. And in fact, you can see those visuals there on your screens, at the right side of your screens, of what happened at that point in time, and has now in fact joined the BJP. Let me go across to Priyank for more details. Priyank, of course, what can you tell us about this?
See, this is an infamous case of during the anti-CAA protest, where he was the one who had opened fire on the protesters at Shaheen Bagh. But what has happened right now, that him joining the Bharatiya Janata Party, a district unit of Ghaziabad, has triggered political controversy. Obviously, the anti-CAA protesters were very unhappy with the kind of this development which has unfolded. Earlier to that, we have seen that when he had opened fire, the pictures of him with the Aam Aadmi party leaders went totally viral. And now, after him joining BJP, this is suddenly a political controversy which has started, where the BJP is in question that whether they are giving this kind of protection to these kind of criminal element of the society. Kapil Gurjar was a resident of East Delhi area, and he took a motorbike and he came along with his friend. He spotted the location, and then he took out his country-made pistol, which was open on the anti-CAA protesters of the Shaheen Bagh. So that's the latest development which has happened in the case. Kapil has said in the soundbite to the media that he believes in the ideology. That's why he has joined the party.
All right, Priyank, thank you for joining us with those details. Moving on now, the grave of a national hero lies in a dilapidated condition in Delhi's Jamia Millia Islamia burial ground. A significant portion of the front part of Brigadier Muhammad Usman's tombstone is broken. Brigadier Usman is a war hero who made the supreme sacrifice in the Indo-Pakistan War of 1948. The Jamia burial ground has said that the present condition is because no one has been taking care of it. After ex-army men, in fact, expressed anguish over the condition of his grave, sources in the Indian Army have told Mirror Now that they have taken note of it and the grave will be restored soon as per protocol. Meanwhile, a caretaker of the graveyard spoke to Mirror Now and revealed that the grave was not vandalized by anyone, and he added that the epitaph of the grave had fallen off because it was old.
ये कैसे टूट गया?
ये ऐसा है, ये पुराना है।
हाँ।
इस चीज को देखो, ये पुराना है।
हाँ।
ये आपका पूरा ये खत्म हो गया है, इसलिए झड़ गया। ये गिर चुका है। बस बाकी किसी ने ये तोड़ा नहीं करा है।
हाँ।
ये अपने आप गिर गया।
ये अपने आप गिर गया? जी। तो ये यहाँ पर कोई वैंडलिज्म, मतलब किसी ने तोड़ा नहीं है?
नहीं, किसी ने नहीं तोड़ा है।
किसी ने नहीं तोड़ा, अपने आप गिर गया?
अपने आप झड़ गया।
तो क्या आप लोग इसको बनवाएंगे कैसे?
ये तो वही बनवाएंगे जिनका है, ये
जिनका है वो।
Matter of great shame that a nation cannot provide security and maintenance to the grave of such an icon. There has been no accountability and responsibility assigned till date as to who is required to provide safety, security and maintenance and upkeep of this grave.
Prime Minister attended his funeral. His grave today in Jamia Millia area is in a state of disrepair and neglect. I think India must honor its heroes, and the authorities concerned must attend to the matter urgently to refurbish and bring up his grave in an appropriate manner.
His grave was found vandalized or slightly broken. It is a very sad day if it was vandalized. If it was neglect, then immediately the nation should put back the grave in its pristine condition for the pride of the Indian Army and for the pride of the nation and what it did for India's saving of Kashmir with other heroes.
Meanwhile, reacting to this, BJP spokesperson Zafar Islam has said that he would personally visit the site and make sure that the grave is repaired.
Their graveyard, or for that matter, their whatever asthal is there, that needs to be protected, and that is the only way. By keeping it in good shape is the only way to respect our martyrs.
We are at the grave of Brigadier M. Usman, Mahavir Chakra awardee, who is also called as a Nauseda ka Sher, who attained martyrdom defending the nation during 1947 war in Nauseda sector. This is the epitaph which is broken, and the ex-servicemen have raised objection, have expressed deep anguish over the condition of his graveyard. They've said that army and the other authorities should look into this as to how this can be restored, because those people who have laid down their lives for the country must be remembered and honored even after their life. And currently, Indian Army has said that they have got to know about this, they have acknowledged this situation, and action will be taken as per protocol. So we are being told that this will be restored, but for now you can see the condition of the epitaph which has been broken here, and this lies in tatters in the Jamia Millia Islamia graveyard where we are reporting from right now. The grave of Brigadier M. Usman, who is the Mahavir Chakra awardee, is in a very bad condition, and it is only an earnest appeal from veterans to the other authorities to restore it so that we can pay homage to those who have given their lives for the country. With video journalist Mrityunjay, Ayushman for Mirror Now.
And on that note, it's time to wrap up this edition of The Big Story. Here's a quick reminder, you can log on to our website, mirrornownews.com. Also follow us on our social media handles.